All right. Well, hello, you guys, and welcome to Monday night team call. So excited to be on here. Team training. Welcome. It's July. It's crazy. The years or the months are going by so quick. Convention is coming up, and I know so many of you I see on the screen are going. And so really excited for that to come. And many of you, that's your first convention. And if you're not going, that's okay. It's still open to register through virtual, which you will not miss any of the action. So if that's something that you want to be a part of, definitely reach out to your support team, get you connected to the virtual site and how to register for all of that. But today we really wanted to go through client support. Okay. I know sometimes we kind of overthink client support. I mean, just blink at me if sometimes we think that we overthink client support, or maybe we struggle with not knowing the questions to ask, or maybe we struggle not knowing how to keep someone motivated after week one. And so today we're really going to kind of run through all of that and kind of, really set your clients up for success, because client support really begins way before your client even starts their journey. It starts when they say yes. And so I'm going to kind of run through some tips and tricks and tips and shifts that we can really have. That way, we really set up our clients up for success their first week, but not just their first week, but we even just set them up even after that, right? Going over how we posture coaching, throughout their first week. So kind of starting off with, really starting off really kind of going through the beginning, right? We're going to really talk about integrating our clients and guiding them as soon as they say yes. So that way we're coaching them into a strong fat burn and we're integrating them, because let me tell you, when you integrate your clients, that's going to be a game changer in your business. So here are some tips for success after a client says yes. I hope you guys have some pen and paper with you. If you actually are looking on here and you don't see your team on, definitely throw out some last minute reminders for them to be a part of this today, so they can, set themselves up for success as well. So let's start off with after they say yes. There are some things that you can do from really the moment that your client says yes. As we know, there has been a little bit of a delay in shipping the last few months. Shipping is getting better. I believe it's kind of cut in half, I would say, or around there from when the time that it was 14 to 15 days. We're now seeing anywhere between 7 and 9 days. So it is getting better, but we really want to start integrating your clients from the beginning, right? Really starting them off well from when the moment that they say yes, and start integrating them. Because if you really think about it, integration actually really starts throughout the follow-up process, right? Because we're really building that relationship with them. We're showing them why Optavia is so different as we just continue to build that relationship. We're almost already kind of integrating them into our life. We're integrating them into the community. We're integrating into really who we are as Optavians. So that's kind of really where it starts. And so really integration begins when you make that first connection. So before you get off the phone, okay, so once you're on a health assessment, you have someone say they're ready to say yes, and they're like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Remember, we always want to ask, hey, is this something that would fit into your life? Are you ready to get started? So say, as soon as they say yes, we really want to set that expectation and show your clients what those next steps are. You guys, this is new for people. They have no idea what that next step is. And so we don't want to say, okay, give me your card info and that's it, right? We actually really want them to get the idea of what this process is going to look like, right? Because people aren't used to having a partner. They're not used to having someone there for them. They're not used to having the support. And so we're going to show them that we're going to give them the support that they promise. And so for me, I set that expectation right away. I let them know, hey, all right, the next step is I'm going to gather all your information. I'm going to get your account set up. I'm going to order your program, order your food, your education, and get everything ordered for when your kid arrives. But until then, I'm going to be setting up with some daily messages, right? We have those daily messages there for a reason. And so we're going to set them up with those daily messages. I'm going to let them know, and I might actually kind of throw this out. You guys, don't change the daily messages. Keep your life simple. I know sometimes you want to kind of tweak it to make it sound like us. I let them know, look, these are just generic messages, but to get you started off right. It doesn't have to sound like you, but just keep it simple, keep your life simple, and just copy it word by word, right, and send it over to them. But I let them know that there's going to be some great videos for them to check out, and that there's going to be some action steps. So their job before their kit arrives is to go through this, because I let them know that my coaching starts way before the kid arrives. So I want them to already kind of get into action, because especially during that time period from when they order until when their food arrives, sometimes there's always that buyer's remorse, right? They're so excited, and then a few days go on, maybe they don't hear from you, or maybe they're just waiting, and the excitement kind of wears away. And so these messages and them getting into action and kind of seeing what's possible, that's going to keep that excitement going until their kit does arrive. And so then I let them know, hey, you let me know when your program arrives, and do not start anything until we talk right before, because I want we're going to go through every single detail to set you up for success. Because how many of us before have had a client start and not tell us? Well, that starts with the expectation of letting them know, hey, do not start, do not do anything. You let me know when your program arrives. So yes, I have the tracking. Yes, I can see, when their program arrives, but this is the first initial step and the first time that I'm going to allow them to take control and to take responsibility for their journey, right? And so I want them to tell me when they're ready to start. And so letting them know, hey, let me know when your program arrives. We're going to choose a date. I'll tell you that for me, the best day to ever start, and I let them know this, is on a Monday. I don't know about you guys, but starting on a Monday is like, let's start fresh. There's nothing to me worse than someone starting on like a Thursday or a Friday, and then that first weekend it be miserable for them, right? I want them to be in full fat burn when their first weekend on program starts, and feeling excited and feeling energized and all the things. And so letting them know, okay, let me know when your program starts. Now, this is one thing that I actually guys do. Okay. So I always end, I know for my health assessments, kind of reverting back a little bit, is I always say, oh, one more thing. Okay. I saw this on a training long ago, and I started using it ever since. And it's really been really helpful when it comes to planting that seed of coaching. Okay. And so one more thing, this is something that we're going to share on every health assessment. Why? Because it's going to really plant the seed of coaching, and just share, that next step with them. And so I say, oh, one more thing before we hang up. I promise that, and I'll tell you guys this, I promise if you start using this and planting the coaching seed early, it's going to start coming on naturally. But I say, oh, one more thing. People will start noticing all of these changes that are going to be happening. So I just want to let you know that within your first couple of weeks, you're probably going to have people talking about this. You're probably going to have people asking what you're doing. So we're going to be talking about how we're going to help your friends and family. And either you're going to send me those referrals, or we're going to talk about coaching. But for now, let's just get started on your journey. And we'll talk about that later on. So right now, I'm not inviting them to explore coaching. I'm not inviting them. I'm just planting that seed. I'm dropping it and I'm walking away, right? I'm not even giving them time to respond. I'm just saying, hey, just so you know, people will notice. People are going to ask what you're doing. And from there, we're going to talk about what that looks like to help them. But let's first focus on you. We'll talk about that later. So next, let's kind of talk about setting up our system. So, once we've now, we've set up, we've set them all up, right? We've told them exactly what that expectations are. Now we're going to really set up these client systems so that we really don't miss anything, right? So now what we're going to do with that health assessment, this is kind of just going over the basics, right? We're going to get that health assessment. We're going to put it in our client binder. We're going to welcome in that client support. But now we're going to get kind of into the meat of this whole call, as far as what we're going to do starting really when they get their program, right? What does that start off with? The journey kickoff call. This is the call that sets expectations for all clients moving forward. You're going to tell them exactly what your coaching is going to look like. And so during this time, I've stayed in relationship with them, right? I've sent them off those messages. They've already kind of been doing some of that work. And now they've already let me know when they're starting. Now it's time to really do that journey kickoff, you guys. See, this is a system that everyone uses, right? And that's going to set everyone up for success. And so before we talk, I always confirm with them, because remember, we're always going to send the day before message. We all have those messages. The day before message, we're going to send to them and make sure and confirm that they've watched both of those videos and they've reviewed the Optavia guide before we connect. You guys, this step is so important, okay? I'm going to repeat it. So important, this step, to make sure they watch both of those videos and review the Optavia guide. Why? Because now your journey kickoff call is going to go from 30 minutes to maybe 10 minutes. It's going to give them all the information that they need. You're just here to help answer any questions and just to briefly review with them. So I also let them know at this part, look, this call is only going to be about 10 minutes. When do you have 10 minutes of your time? Because I don't want them to think it's going to take a lot longer, right? And I don't want them to expect that either. So that they know that this expectation that we're setting up, it's just going to be a really quick call for them. So setting those expectations. So this is where we're going to share with them, right, what our coaching looks like. So we go over just a few different things of what they're going to be doing, making sure they're eating every 2 or 3 hours. You guys all know this stuff, but this is the part that we're going to, towards the end, is what I'll say, hey, so this is what my coaching looks like this week. Okay. You're not going to be setting, this is so there's no surprise to your client, because sometimes we wonder why our clients are not answering our phone calls on day one, or why they're not setting up a celebration call by week one. If we didn't set that expectation, of course they're not going to do it. But if you let them know the night before, and you let them know, hey, just so you know, this is what you signed up for. This is what my coaching looks like for you this week. We're going to connect the first 3 days, okay? Now, or the first 4 days, right? We're going to connect the first 4 days, because my goal is to help you reach fat burn by day 4. But if we don't connect every, for at least 3 to 5 minutes daily, we can't review your day. We can't make sure your lean-in is on point. We can't make sure that you're going through everything that you need to be going or feeling in order to reach fat burn by day 4. You guys, everyone wants to get in fat burn quickly, right? So if they know that this is a call to help them, they're not going to miss it. And so I let them know, look, we're going to connect the first 4 days, 3 to 5 minutes, just to make sure that everything is going great in your day. We're going to review how you're feeling. We're going to review your lean and green, and just to make sure that you reach fat burn by day 4. Okay. And then I'm actually getting those times too, right? Well, hey, what time is a good time for us to connect? So that there's no surprise. I don't have to text them and say, hey, when's a good time to connect tonight, right? We already have that time established. And then I let them know. And then at our 1 week, from there, once we know that you're in fat burn, the next time that we talk is going to be at our 1 week. And this call is actually going to be done with my coach. Obviously, Josh and I are in a different place because, where we're at in our business. But, if you're obviously still utilizing your coach for these tip calls, this is when you want to let them know, hey, at that 1 week, we're going to celebrate you. But most importantly, we're going to actually get on a call and give you tips moving forward in your journey. So that way you do get to your goal as quickly as you can get there. So this call is going to be super important, right? So now again, it's not a surprise. They know exactly that this call is happening. They know exactly what to look out for that week 1. And that way you don't have to text them day 1 or, after week 1, hey, are you ready for that tip call? So another thing that I do as well is I tell them, okay, next step is what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to open your life book and write your name in it. Okay, you guys, this is where we're going to introduce how the life book is so important, right? Now, anyone, that's all I'm asking them to do is just, hey, can you do that? Just you open your life book and write your name. There's not one person that, isn't capable of doing that, right? Because we know that's not hard to do. That's all I'm asking them to do. I'm not asking them to do anything else. And then again, here's that, oh, and one more thing, right? Because maybe it's been a week or 2 since we had that health assessment and I said, planted that seed of coaching. So I bring it up again. Oh, and one more thing. Again, I'm laying down the referrals, right? And coaching at this time. So I'm going to say the one thing. So, oh my gosh, can't wait. I'm so excited for you to get started. I'm so excited for people to see your success, because you're going to have so many people that you're going to inspire by your journey. And I cannot wait for you to start helping your friends and family. I drop it and I leave it. I'm not asking them to explore. I'm not waiting for a response. It's just a bomb that I drop and then that's it, right? That's all I say. So moving forward, let's go through days 1 through 3, okay? So here are some questions. I know sometimes we have no idea what questions to ask on these days, so I hope you have a pen and paper to write these down. These call, you guys, should be 3 to 5 minutes. It should not take a lot of time. We are just checking in with them briefly. We want to respect their time, but at the same time, we're also respecting our time, right? So some questions that we want to ask. What went well today? Tell me about your day. How are you feeling, right? They're going to tell you how you're feeling, how they're feeling. We kind of know it through our own journey what those first 3 days look like, right? The hunger, the headaches, the tiredness, and we're just letting them know. They're like, oh man, I was so hungry today. Maybe give them some tips, right? Say, hey, that's totally normal. It means it's working. Hunger is completely normal to feel during your day 1, day 2. That will go away, once you reach fat burn. Try drinking some water in between your feelings. Give them some tips to help them out. We want to ask them, how many ounces of water did they drink? Get that certain number, right? Because if we're just asking them, oh, hey, did you drink all your water today? They're going to say, yeah. Did you get all of your feelings in? They're going to say, yeah. And then maybe at 1 week tip call, when your coach is asking them about water, they're like, oh, I'm drinking about 60 ounces of water. And you're like, like what? They told me they drank all their water, but we didn't specify how much water during those days. So we want to ask them those questions. How much water, how many ounces of water did you drink, right? Ask about their lean and green. What did they have? Ask them to send you a picture, right? We can see when there's a full lean and grain. So asking them to send you those pictures, asking them to break down their lean and grain, because we want to make sure, again, we want them to see success right away. We want them to see those early wins. So we want to make sure that they're doing the program exactly how it was designed. Maybe have just more open-ended questions, right? And kind of keep that going. And so this is something, again, 3 to 5 minutes, guys, just ask how their day is. How are they feeling? If they're feeling those normal symptoms, assure them, hey, that's normal. You're going to be feeling those things, but it's going to go away. Just give it a couple more days. If we're almost over that hump, and you're going to feel amazing in just a couple of days. So asking them those days 1 through 3, okay? That's super important, you guys. Now day 4, okay? So that's this day for sure is my favorite check-in, right? It's supposed to be the most exciting call, because this is the call that we're going to confirm they're in fat burn. And how do we confirm that? We want to hear how they're feeling, right? We want to make sure that they're saying they have more energy. We want to make sure they have decreased hunger, improvement on their sleep. They're feeling better overall. Those are the signs that show me that they are in fat burn, right? They may be saying, oh, I woke up before my alarm clock, or I'm organizing my house, or I'm doing decluttering, or I'm cleaning, like all the things that maybe they normally don't do, right? Those are the signs of fat burn. And you guys, not everyone reaches fat burn by day 4. Everyone is different, right? Some hit it at day 5. And so if they're not in fat burn on day 4, then you may have to have another check-in day 5. This is just the average, but typically everyone reaches fat burn by day 4. And really set that expectation, right? I let them know, hey, this is like graduation day, right? The next time like we connect, that means everything that you've done, you're doing amazing. It shows me that you've done everything great the last couple of days, and you're in true fat burn. So the next time that we connect, we're going to celebrate your first week. I'm going to continue to send you the daily messages, but we're really going to talk and celebrate your first week. And I cannot wait to hear all your victories. Again, my support coach is going to be on with you. They've been doing this a little bit longer, and they're going to give you so many incredible tips to help you reach to your goal as quickly as you can. But I'm always here. Let them know that you're always here if they have any questions. But at the same time, you guys, remember, we want them to take responsibility of their journey. So I let them know too, hey, utilize that client support page. There are so many resources in there for them. They can use the search tab. They can ask questions. This is how you really integrate them more into that community to really set them up to where they're not always coming to you for those questions, right? God forbid the day after tomorrow I'll get hit by a bus. I want my clients to still succeed. I don't want them to feel like they needed me in order to be successful in their journey, but that they can do it on their own as well. And so letting them know to utilize that client support page. And this is also the time on day 4 that I'm asking them, hey, have you opened your life book yet, right? The daily messages, the first few days, G mentioned the life book, but I really want to make sure. And if they say, hey, no, not yet, I just say, hey, awesome. But I'm going to encourage them, or I'll encourage you to really dive into the introduction and element 1 over the next couple of days. I don't punish them for not starting yet. Remember, this is their journey. I want them to still take control of it, but not feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get in trouble, or I'm getting in trouble because I didn't do it. No, I just say, hey, I'm just going to encourage you. Let's dive into the introduction. Let's dive into element 1 over the next couple of days. Hey, and not only that, I just let them know too, you're going to have an extra 5 days or 5 minutes in your day since we're not going to be connecting. Do you think you can use that time to really dive into the introduction element 1 over the next couple of days? right? I mean, they have an extra 5 minutes. Why not? So really letting them know. So that's obviously the first few days, right? Getting them up in a strong fat burn. Now the rest of the days, day 5 through 8, day 8, right? Leading up into the week 1 celebration call is really just continue sending those daily messages. And this is the time that you want to set up that call, right? That tip call. This is the call, you guys, you do not want to miss. This is the call week 1 that you're going to integrate your clients even more. I believe it's day 5 in the daily messages, it actually asks them to set up their 7-day tip call. So they don't text you back from that. Normally they do. They'll say, oh, hey, I'm available this day or this day. But if you don't hear back after that daily message them and say, hey, when did you want to set up that call, right? Maybe they missed it. Maybe they didn't have a chance to text back, but go ahead and set up that call then. Because right, you got to get into your coach's calendar. You got to make sure that times align. So make sure that you do message them, from there and see when they're free to set up. But you guys, I will tell you, this tip call is a game changer. You want them to feel celebrated. You want them to feel loved, but also they are going to be getting tips to help them reach to their goal quicker. Right. And then that's probably when coaching is going to be a little bit more planted into that call, right? How we're really going to talk about how that next step in their journey is that. So now say we've had that 1 week call, right? You've set that up. Now I think this is the part that I think a lot of coaches really stress on is the client check-ins, right? And sometimes you don't know how to maybe keep that excitement going in your clients. Maybe you don't know what questions to ask. Well, you guys, I'm going to tell you this. Sometimes we overanalyze this part, right? We overthink exactly what these check-ins should look like. We don't know what questions to ask, but you guys, it's really set up to be really simple for you guys. So I'm going to kind of go through some questions that I go through with my clients weekly as I just continue to build that relationship. I will tell you this. These calls should not be more than like 8 to 10 minutes long, right? Again, we want to respect their time. But remember, this is still your business. This is still respecting your time too. There's no reason to have a 20, 30 minute, 40-minute check-in. Because if you're going to be carrying a lot of clients, no one's got time to do check-ins that long. And not only that, if you have super long check-ins, what you're showing your clients is that they're not going to have time to coach, right? If coaching takes too long, then you're not really showing them that, coaching doesn't take a lot of time, right? So we want to show them and really just show them what coaching looks like and that they can do it too. So 5 to 8 or 8 to 10 minutes shouldn't be more than that. Maybe there's going to be some times where maybe they're struggling or maybe they need a little bit more time, but it's going to be very rare that you have that. But some questions to ask for you guys to write this down. My number 1 question I ask, tell me about your week. Right? I want them to tell me about their week. Some maybe details in there is share with me your non-scale victories, right? I always ask that first because I don't want them to always focus on the number of the scale, right? Non-scale victories are so much better than what the scale will ever say. And that's what I want them to see, the beauty in the non-scale victories, right? If they're losing inches, if they're fitting into clothes, if they're sleeping better, if they have more energy, if they were able to say no to things, those are non-scale victories to really celebrate, right? And then I am going to ask them, have you seen progress on the scale this week? And that's important because you want to gauge kind of obviously where they're at. If they're still losing, anywhere depending, anywhere from a few pounds a week, that's average, right? But maybe they didn't lose any weight. Well, this is maybe where we want to do some system checks, right? If you're seeing, okay, they're kind of slowing down in their weight loss, or maybe they haven't lost anything, asking them if they've lost inches, right? And if they haven't, then maybe do a system check. So, well, did you do anything differently this week than you have before, right? Really get them to open up and see if there's any difference of what they've been doing to what they did this week. Okay, so really getting those first questions out of the way as far as non-scale victories, scale victories, how their week went. And then this is where it's important, you guys. It's all about learning about the life book, right? The food is out of the equation. After the first week, we don't need to focus on food anymore, right? Because then you become just the food cop or the food police or the food salesman, right? This is about changing their mindset. This is about changing, every other aspect of, outside of food in this program. And so this is where I'm asking about the life book. Hey, what element in your life book are you on? And they're going to tell me the element. And you guys, y'all should have one of these because you don't have one of these, this coaching guide. This is where you're going to get a lot of your questions when it comes to asking them about what they're learning in their life book. So they tell you they're on element. I'll open this up. Let's see. They're on element Element 1, okay? Well, gosh, be darned, there's some questions to ask that you can ask them off of this, right? They're in L. They tell you they just finished element 1. Awesome. What does this element mean to you right now? We want them to open up. So there's some questions for them to ask. You guys, you don't have to think about what questions to ask them in their life book. It tells you all right here, right? What does this element give you the opportunity to reflect on, right? I would encourage you to take some notes too, as far as on their health assessment. You can just write down briefly in the notes, element 1, they've learned this, and this, or this, and this, what actions are you going to take as a result of this element? Right? Really get them to open up more. That is how you keep them engaged. If they're struggling with something, maybe give them a challenge this week, right? Oh, maybe they're struggling with water. Hey, can I challenge you every day to maybe increase your water by 10 ounces? Or 20 ounces or whatever it may be. So that's how you're going to help them really stay motivated. But you guys, most importantly in these calls, build a relationship. Okay, that's where I think maybe you all struggle a little bit in thinking that it has to be all business and all just health, that we forget that we want to get to know them as a friend, right? We have a client to coach relationship, but most importantly, I want to build a friendship with these people, because when you build a friendship with them, you build more trust with them, right? When you build more trust with them, you're going to start to see that these are going to be people that are going to join this mission with you, right? Because now you've developed that trust with them, or they've developed this trust in with you. Asking them questions as far as, well, tell me about your week. How are the kids? Do you have any vacations planned? How's work going? Asking them even about work can give you those little cues as far as knowing, okay, they're telling me that they hate their work, that they're working such long hours, that their commute is crazy, that they hate their boss. And so now I'm taking all of these mental notes because I'm like, man, coaching would be amazing for them. And so maybe that's when I'm planting a, hey, you should really think about coaching. I think it would be such a great opportunity for you, and I start to share my story with them. I knew how I was in my job and I wasn't very happy. Coaching's really giving me that avenue and that blessing, to build an incredible income, and as well as that freedom in your life. Would you be open to exploring what that looks like, right? So finding those opportunities to invite them to a coach explore, and this can be weeks in, right? 2, 3, 4 weeks. So you guys really don't overanalyze client support. I think what we do is sometimes we stop having fun with it because we start thinking too much about it. And so I really want to encourage you guys that the most important week in their journey is week 1, right? We want to coach them into a strong fat burn. We want to show them this is the best program that they've ever done and the easiest program they've ever done to lose weight. As long as you're still always, really attaching their why behind it, because there's going to be times, they are going to be unmotivated, or they're going to be like, man, like I messed up, or, you guys, no journey is perfect. Just know that there's going to be no journey that's perfect. So just know that if they messed up, don't punish them. Be like, hey, that's okay. What would you have done prior, right? You had a piece of cake. How much cake would you have had before this program? And celebrate that victory that they had won and not the entire pie, right? So those are the things that you want to look for too. So just know we do not have to overanalyze client support. Really coach them into a really strong fat burn week 1. And you guys, use this guide. This is the guide that you want to use to really ask a few questions about what they're learning in the life book. Your coaching questions, honestly, along with how much they've lost and all of those questions, should be a max of like 4 to 5 minutes. And then the rest of the conversation, the other half of that, just talk about them. They will have so much more appreciation and want to talk to you weekly. If you everyone, honestly, blink at me if I'm wrong, but everyone likes to talk about themselves. Am I right? Or am I right? Right? Everyone likes to talk about themselves. So you're going to see a completely different conversation and just a different even attitude. If you just ask, well, tell me about you. Like, how was your week? How are the kids doing in summer? You guys have any summer plans? All of a sudden is excitement. Oh my gosh. And they just want to talk to people, right? Because maybe they don't have that. So just be a friend to them. And you're going to see that as you build that relationship and you build the friendship above everything else, that's where you're going to start to see your clients, have maybe more success. Your clients actually want to talk to you weekly, but then also build that strong bond and that strong relationship and friendship and trust to where when you plant that, or when you approach them to start coaching, they're going to have no reservations, right? Because you've just, put in all of this trust and this love with them that they're like, you know what, maybe I am open to exploring it, right? Because now you know more about their life. You've been interested in their life, and now they see that you really truly believe this would be a good opportunity for them. So I know we just went over 2 minutes, but I hope that was really helpful for you guys. Really don't overanalyze it. Don't overthink it. It's simple. It's fun. There's 4 quadrants to this business. There is client acquisition, right? If we become really good at client acquisition and client support, you're going to see that coach acquisition is so simple, that it doesn't take a lot. It's not, something that, sometimes we overanalyze, but you're going to see that it's so simple to acquire clients. And the best part is you don't have to support your own coaches, guys. You got a mentor team that's going to help you support your coaches. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. That's all I got. But I'm excited to see y'all at the end of this month. There's so many of you guys that are going to convention. Again, if you guys aren't going in person, that does not mean that you're not going to join on the fun. There is still there's still virtual convention happening. It's just going to be just as amazing. So I really encourage you guys to be a part of that, because if you're brand new coaches, or maybe this is your first season, or however long you've been here, and you haven't been to an event, you're going to see events are super powerful. So I'm going to encourage you to be a part of the virtual event happening at the end of this month. If you don't know how to get connected, connect to your mentor team, and they will help you. So hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Thanks for letting me talk your ears off for the last half hour, and we'll be seeing you guys real soon. Have a good day, guys.